Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our live build-up to the 2025 Singapore Grand Prix. We're back at the famous Marina Bay Street Circuit, under the lights, surrounded by skyscrapers, humidity, and an unmistakable atmosphere that only Singapore can produce. This race is unlike any other on the calendar. It's one of the hottest, one of the longest, and one of the most grueling races of the year. The drivers call it a survival test, both mentally and physically, and over the next few hours we'll find out who can keep their focus, manage the heat, and come out on top. We've officially entered the final third of the season, this being round 18 of 24, and while the championship picture is starting to take shape, there's still a lot to play for. Teams are bringing updates, drivers are pushing for contracts, and some are simply out to prove a point before the year's done. Let's start with the headlines coming into this weekend. Singapore is a race where strategy rules. It's not a place where you can rely on pure pace. You've got to think ahead, you've got to stay patient, and you've got to make the right call at the right time. Overtaking is incredibly difficult here, so qualifying and track position are everything. The drivers know that, the strategists know that, and it means every pit window, every undercut, every tyre choice can completely change the outcome. One big story heading into this race, McLaren. They're on the verge of clinching the Constructors' Championship. They only need 13 points to do that. That's basically both cars finishing in the top 7, and that would secure the title with several races to spare. An incredible turnaround from where they were just a couple of seasons ago. Then we've got George Russell, who starts this weekend, still recovering from his illness. He looked visibly drained last weekend, and while he's feeling better, it's not the ideal situation to head to one of the toughest races on the calendar. But he's put the car on pole, so if he can hold that together for 2 hours in that cockpit heat, it'll be a massive statement of resilience. But how about Carlos Sainz? Since joining Williams, he's been in great rhythm. That podium in Baku, Williams first since Russell's in Spa back in 2021, which really wasn't a race, really gave him and the team a boost. He said he's treating the last 6 races as a mini-season, a fresh start to push Williams further forward. And given how consistent they've been lately, don't rule out another surprise from them today. The Marina Bay Street Circuit itself, 4.94 kilometres of pure challenge, tight corners, concrete walls, barely a second to rest. It's a high downforce track because all of the low speed corners, and it's one of those circuits that punishes even the smallest mistakes. It's also the only track on the calendar, on the current calendar, where Max Verstappen has never won. It's very hard to believe. The Dutchman has dominated almost everywhere else, but not here. Now, a few technical tidbits. The circuit's been resurfaced heading into turn 16. There's talk about a bump that's been removed, or maybe not removed. No one's actually entirely sure, but it's one of those small unknowns that could play a big role, especially under braking or when tyres start to wear. And if you're wondering about strategy, last year was fascinating. Lando Norris won with a one-stop strategy, which is rare here, but keep in mind that was the only Singapore Grand Prix in history without a safety car. Every other year has had at least one, and with these tight walls, that streak could easily return tonight. And also, the strategy could be thrown in the air because it was raining not that long ago. The drivers have gone out for their laps to the grid on intermediate tyres, and some drivers have said Inters is definitely better than slicks. We'll find out. Countdown to lights out in 26 minutes time. Now, before the lights go out later, let's talk about what happens right before that, the actual start itself. Now, there's someone called Rebecca Lee, you might not know the name, but she's one of the most important people on race day. She's the official race starter for Formula 1, the person who controls the light sequence at the start of every Grand Prix. Now, the process is part automatic, part manual. The 5 red lights come on automatically, one by one. But when they go out, that's done manually by Rebecca, and that means drivers never quite know when they'll go. It could be half a second longer, it could be shorter, and that uncertainty is deliberate. It keeps the teams and drivers on their toe. And if a driver jumps the start, meaning they move after the second light illuminates, but before they go out, they'll be hit with a penalty. The sensors on the grid are actually extremely sensitive, so there's no getting away with it. We saw Oscar Piastri last week in Baku, and we saw Fernando Alonso react to Piastri, also getting a penalty for moving before the signal. Now let's talk about something drivers rely on heavily, the anti-stall system. It's a safety mechanism that prevents the car from stalling if the clutches drop too quickly. and aggressively. It protects the engine and allows the driver to recover the car even if they mistime the launch. And before the start, drivers are balancing the clutch and throttle perfectly. Teams give them a target RPM to aim for, but ultimately the driver feels it through vibrations, sounds, and instinct. That's why race starts as such a skill. It's not about numbers and telemetry. It's not about put your foot on the accelerator and let go of the brake. It's about feel and finesse. Now, the biggest technical challenge this weekend is actually heat management. This has been officially declared as a heat hazard race, meaning the conditions are extreme enough that special cooling suits are allowed. These are rare in Formula 1, but they are necessary here. Because of those suits, the minimum car weight has been increased by 5 kilograms for the race to level the playing field across all teams. This all stems from the lessons learned in Qatar last year, where several drivers struggled with heat exhaustion. Remember Lance Stroll barely being able to get out the car. So F1 took it seriously, and the cooling suits here are the result. Speaking of staying cool, let's talk about Red Bull's front wing. They've brought an updated design that looks like it's been cut down, literally trimmed from a previous version. It's lighter, leaner, and it's meant to help airflow under extreme heat. Interestingly, their drink system is also located inside the front wing, which raises an interesting question. What happens if they damage it mid-race? Do they lose their drinks bottle too? It's the kind of detail only F1 could actually make you think about. Let's go across the grid. Everyone's got their own approach. Mercedes have added a grille to improve cooling flow. Ferrari have a triangular cutout design. McLaren have experimented with asymmetry, one wing with slot, one without. It shows how much attention goes into every single detail of these machines. There isn't a part of the car that isn't double-checked, tested, and designed with multiple implications in mind. That includes aerodynamics, weight, heat dissipation, and even driver comfort. But let's take a look back at how the weekend has unfolded so far. Didn't take long for the drama to start. Alex Albon's Williams suffered a major brake fire. Both rear brakes overheating, flames coming out of the wheel rims. It highlighted a potential weakness for Williams, cooling issues. In these conditions, that could spell trouble. Fernando Alonso took the fast time of FP1, showing that Aston Martin still have pace when it counts. FP2 introduced more chaos. George Russell hit the wall hard at turn 16, only just ripping off his front wing. Liam Lawson at Racing Bulls hit the barrier at turn 17, causing a red flag and extensive damage to the car. And in the pits, Charles Leclerc was released unsafely into Lando Norris, nudging the McLaren into the pit lane wall, and Ferrari were fined for that one. Amid all the mayhem though, Oscar Piastri topped the times. And in the final practice, more trouble for Lawson, his second crash of the weekend, this time at turn 7, that caused another red flag. Max Verstappen ended up fastest, setting himself up nicely heading into qualifying. And then qualifying yesterday was tense. The track was evolving quickly, grip levels changing corner by corner. Pierre Gasly had a miserable end to Q1. He stopped on track saying, "I've lost everything, steering is heavy." Total power failure, but up front, George Russell pulled out a sensational lap, beating Verstappen and Piastri to take pole. Lando Norris starts 5th, just a few positions behind them. It's a fascinating grid, different teams with different strengths and some big names out position further down the order. That's the recipe for a spicy Grand Prix. We're on the grid now. Oscar Piastri's car looking very bright under the lights. They're taking the tyres off. I don't know if they're going to change tyres. I don't know what they're going to do, because considering the temperature's so hot here, maybe it might dry out. No one knows what's going to happen. The last race we had here was in 2017. It was the first ever night race that was wet in Formula 1. Talking about night races, this was the first night race here in Formula 1, here at the Singapore Grand Prix back in 2008. It's going to be interesting, because the spray in 2017 was a lot heavier than it is today. I think the worst outcome, if you're talking about strategy, you start on the inters for the first few laps, and then you go on to the dries. If it's going to stay this way, or you could just start on the dries immediately and do a normal strategy. It's all about the draining at this track of the rain and everything else. But yeah, we'll wait to see what happens. Strategy front, we've got about 20 minutes to go until the race as we continue our build-up here for the Singapore Grand Prix. The driver's just about to sing the national anthem. There's Jackie Stewart watching on behind the barrier. The safety car is ready. Bert Mylander, the driver. Like we've said before, there's been a safety car in every Singapore Grand Prix except from last season. Jack Whitehall's on the grid. He hosted F175 Live with all the livery reveals earlier this year. Had a joke with a few F1 personalities, including Max Verstappen, George Russell, Christian Horner. So hopefully he will have a lovely time. Last time he was out at the Silverstone Grand Prix, the British Grand Prix, he actually bumped into Lewis Hamilton while Lewis Hamilton was on his way to the national anthems. So they've kept him away from the drivers, luckily, before he gets another incident, and he's just nearly banged into someone else. Don't know what's going on. The DJ is out in full force. We've got about 19 minutes to go until the race start in the Singapore Grand Prix. Looking at weather before the race, an hour ago it actually was raining, and then it slowly decreased. It stopped now, but there's still pockets of rain around the city. I don't know whether it's going to come back. It's Singapore. You never know what's going to happen in the rain. Alex Albon looked like he was going to have a chat with Martin Brundle. He's walked away, and now he's going to walk back. But it's going to be really interesting, the Singapore Grand Prix. Max Verstappen starts on pole. Let's actually go through the full starting grid as determined by the results in qualifying yesterday. It's going to be a very interesting one to see what actually happens. The final starting grid from the FIA was released about an hour, 2 hours ago. In fact, actually, we've just been told an incident involving car number 23, which is Alexander Albon's been noted for failing to follow race director's instructions for a practice start infringement. That will be investigated after the race. That's what the FIA have said. So we'll keep an eye on that, but we won't know anything about that until the end of the race. Here's the final starting grid then for today's race. Two cars starting from the back, from the pit lane. That's Alex Albon, the number 23, and Pierre Gasly, the number 10. Then in P18, it's Carlos Sainz with Esteban Ocon alongside him in P17. Franco Colapinto starts 16th, while Lance Stroll starts alongside him in 15th. It's 14th for the Sauber of Gabriel Bortoleto, 13th for Yuki Tsunoda, 12th for Liam Lawson, who found the wall twice during the opening for the opening 3 practice sessions. And Nico Hulkenberg, also in the Sauber, starts 11th. Fernando Alonso starts 10th. He topped FP1. Oliver Behrman starts 9th. 8th for Isaac Hadjar in the Racing Bulls. Charles Leclerc, the first of Ferraris, he starts 7th. His teammate Lewis Hamilton starts 6th. In 5th, it's Lando Norris. In 4th, it's Kimi Antonelli. In 3rd, Oscar Piastri. Max Verstappen starts 2nd, and apologies, I said Max Verstappen is on pole. It's George Russell who takes pole for the Singapore Grand Prix. We're almost ready to go. When we come back, we'll have commentary, live timing, AI radio transcripts, track map live, everything live basically. Race control messages, you couldn't ask for more. The formation lap begins at 1, and we'll be back for live timing of the Singapore Grand Prix next. Well, here we go then. Round 18 of 24 brings us to Singapore. Hello and welcome to FT Sports live coverage of the Singapore Grand Prix. You can see the live timing on your screen throughout the race. And we've got live commentary here from Marina Bay, the street circuit with walls surrounding everywhere. 3 sectors as per usual. Track distance 4.9 kilometres at top speed of 323.3 kilometres an hour, and the track record gained yesterday by George Russell. 62 laps around this elevated circuit of 5.3 metres and 19 corners to test your turn. Used to be 23, but they got rid of the bridge section. Selected tyre compounds. Pirelli have bought the C5, C4 and C3. Those are the dry tyres, but also available are the Inces and Rets. The FIA have said the risk of rain is 30%. Welcome to Singapore, and the night lights illuminate this street circuit. About 1,400 light bulbs are used at this race. Here's the starting grid then, and both of these two are at the back of not even on the grid, they're in the pit lane. Alex Albon in the pit lane alongside Pierre Gasly. Then the start of the grid place starters. Carlos Sainz starts 18th with Esteban Ocon 17th alongside him. Franco Colapinto is the only Alpine on the grid. He starts 16th. Lance Stroll starts 15th. Gabriel Bortoleto in the Sauber starts 14th. Yuki Tsunoda, tough seat for him, starts 13th. Liam Lawson crashed twice in 3 practice sessions. He starts 12th. Nico Hülkenberg starts 11th. Fernando Alonso topped FP1, starts 10th. Oliver Behrman starts P9. Isaac Hadjar in the Racing Bulls starts P8. Charles Leclerc, the first Ferraris, starts 7th. Then it's the first Ferrari of Lewis Hamilton starting 6th. Lando Norris, only 5th for him in qualifying. He'll find this track a struggle. Kimi Antonelli starts 4th. Oscar Piastri 3rd. Antonelli looking good so far this season in qualifying, to say the least. Max Verstappen starts 2nd, and it's George Russell who's still feeling a little bit under the weather, but he starts on pole under this heat hazard race where drivers can wear coolant vests if they want. That's what race control have given the teams. DRS has been disabled. It should stay disabled for a little bit if the track is still wet. However, the teams are all on dry tyres as it stands. Just 2 minutes to go into the formation lap. George Russell's on the mediums, Max Verstappen's on the softs, and then everyone else up to Isaac Hadjar is also on the mediums, then Isaac Hadjar on the softs, Behrman on the mediums, Alonso on the softs, Hülkenberg and Lawson on the mediums, Tsunoda on the soft, Bortoleto on the mediums, Stroll and Colapinto on the softs, and everyone else on the mediums. But it's Albon and Gasly who will start in the pit lane. Max Verstappen is on the soft tyre. He used that tyre in qualifying. It's got 3 laps of age on it. And it's George Russell who set a new Marina Bay track record in qualifying with a 1 minute 29.158. And he is looking good so far. As we look at the trophy, 16 black rings at the base of this trophy represent 16 years of the Singapore Grand Prix. If you go back to 2008, it was the first night race in F1 history. Fernando Alonso won it, and only a few years later we found out it was under very controversial circumstances. Crashgate. I would watch the race back, but not now because we've got 1 light left on the grid. And as the clock is about to strike 8 p.m. local time here, 1 p.m. British time, the formation lap has begun, and George Russell leads us away. And it's going to be a very interesting one, to say the least. George Russell is one to watch out for. And, well, what can we say? It's going to be a very interesting race. We've got 62 laps of racing. The possible race strategies: start on the medium, go 29 laps on them, finish on the hard, 33 laps. Or you do a one-stop soft to hard, 23 laps on the soft, 39 laps on the hard. Mainly medium is the starting tyre throughout the grid today. And there's still a red light in the pit lane. It's 1 Alpine of Gasly, and he will take a pit lane start. I don't see the Williams there just yet of Alexander Albon. They must still be warming up in the garage. In fact, Albon has just left to line up with him now, as you can see on the map. The fastest pit stop so far here in 2025 was 1.91 seconds, held by McLaren, but as of late, their pit stop hasn't been good. We'll take you back to Baku, and Lando Norris was subject to a very slow stop, 4.1 seconds. The Anson Bridge here in Singapore is between 12 and 13, and it's 115 years old. They used to race on the other half of the bridge, however they use the right half now of the bridge. They used to use the left back in 2008. They also used to have the Singapore Sling, most notably there. The drivers are backing up as they go round turn 13, mainly because there's a long straight there, and they will probably be testing their gears. Here's how it's going to work for you here on FT Sport. You're going to be able to see all the leaderboard, which will give you their positions gained and lost, their last lap, best lap, gap, interval, their current tyre, and how many times they've pitted. You also can see the wind direction, the track temperature, and the air temperature. You can see the live track map as George Russell going around the final corner now. You can also see the AI radio transcripts. Of course, they're made by AI. Some of them not going to be very well done, but most of them are. So there you go. That's updating right now for you and giving you all the live radios from the drivers, and next to it the live FIA race control messages. And the last one was DRS has been disabled. Maybe it should be enabled after this first lap as the teams watch on. We are almost ready for 62 laps under the lights here in Singapore. Last car to line up on the grid will be Carlos Sainz starting in 18th, and then Pierre Gasly and Alexander Albon will have a pit lane start, so you don't need to worry about them as much. Here we go, the last car to take the grid, Carlos Sainz, just coming around the final corner now, and this start is important, because overtaking here is not really that interesting and easy to do here in Singapore. It all mattered on qualifying. We've passed qualifying, we got 3, 4 or 5 lights, and we are go here in Singapore. Great start from Max Verstappen, but it's George Russell who covers him off as we go down into turn 1. They are 6 abreast in the back as we go into turn 1. There's contact made between the Alpine and the Racing Bulls. Alpine goes off, and the McLarens have made contact, and almost Lando Norris is in the wall. Interesting start here, the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc trying to attack. Great start for him as we go now. Raffles Boulevard, it's George Russell who still leads from Verstappen. Then it's Norris, Piastri, Leclerc, Antonelli, Hamilton. The McLaren's going to move to the inside. He's not going to get anything done as we see Leclerc trying to fight. Bad start for Hamilton, bad start for Antonelli. Antonelli's lost 2 positions on it. Racing Bull down the inside of... It's Hadjar, down Alonso, they're still alongside. Hadjar gets past as we move across this track into Sector 2 now. Great start from George Russell, who's already got a 1.2 second lead here. Norris said I had contact, just keep an eye on everything, and that contact probably was with his teammate. As we go now into the chicane and down onto the straight, but it's the McLarens who are together now. They made contact early on lap 1 here on this race. What a start to this Singapore Grand Prix. Lap 1 of 62 and the field just spreads out now. George Russell definitely is spread out a lot. And the sparks coming from the car, most notably the Haas. Oh, there's Oscar Piastri. Oscar Piastri went off for the final chicane, and he's lost a lot of time there. He's not lost a position, but the gap between him and Lando Norris is quite a bit. I'd love to know what happened to Oscar Piastri there round the final chicane. We'll have to find out for a replay. But as we cross the line to go on to lap 2 of 62, it's George Russell who leads from Verstappen, Norris, Piastri, Leclerc, Antonelli. Piastri on the radio. And he says, yeah, I mean, that wasn't very team-like, but sure, as we continue on, Norris has gained 2, Piastri's lost 1, Leclerc's gained 2, Antonelli's lost 2, and Hamilton's lost a position, all of those in the top 10, including Alonso gaining 1, and Behrman losing 1. The DRS has been enabled on this lap, and the turn 1 incident involving cars 6, Hadjar, and 87, Behrman, noted for causing a collision. Let's have a look at what went on with Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri. Oh, I don't know if you made contact with a Red Bull there, Lando, and then hit Oscar Piastri. It looked like he just got a snap and heavily hit Oscar Piastri. He doesn't have any damage. That has not been noted by race control, but that Hadjar Behrman incident, which we saw the Racing Bull tangle, which what I thought was an Alpine at the time, it was actually a Haas. They made contact and it went off at turn 1. Well, lap 2 is 62 and it's just started to calm down, but what happened with McLaren is not calmed down a single bit, and I'm very certain they're still going to be talking about that for a while, and it will be talked about in the debrief. Oscar Piastri going off at turn 16 and then leading on to turn 17 where he had to rejoin the track. I think that will count as track limits, so if those add up during the race, he could get maybe a penalty as George Russell gets the fastest lap. It's a 1:39.1 as they come across the line now, and Norris is 2.3 off of Russell, but he's on the back here of Verstappen. Piastri says, so we are cool with Lando, just barge me out the way, or what's the go there? And it says, we are looking at it, let me get back to you, says the McLaren team. Is Piastri trying to suggest that the cars should switch positions? That turn 1 incident between Hadjar and Behrman has been reviewed, no further investigation, but the lap 1 turn 3 incident involving cars 4 and 81, which is Norris and Piastri, has been noted for causing a collision. I don't think there'll be a penalty because he's got a snap of oversteer. It depends how the race directors look at it. The gap between Verstappen and Norris just 0.6 as we exit now of turn 13 and we go on to a straight just before we enter the final sector of the lap. As we do that now, and Lando Norris didn't gain anything on that straight, he'll have the DRS, and because we've had that rain, all the rubber from the F1 Academy support races we've had here will have rubbed off, and there's damage to Lando Norris's front wing. The front wing is hanging off. It's his left end plate that is hanging off the car, and that is not good for Lando Norris, and he'll lose time aerodynamically because of that, and maybe struggle in the corners a bit more. That is not good for the McLarens. And then Oscar Piastri also complaining about the move. Piastri, of course, losing a position, and he's on the radio again. McLaren saying to him, we're still reviewing that incident, we will look at it, but I need you to focus, just focus on what we could do here. Control the controllables, mate. That's what they are saying to Oscar Piastri, who's currently sitting in P4, and you can see the pit wall. They're zooming in on Lando Norris's front wing. They are also zooming in on that turn 1 incident you can see on the screens. And as we're on lap 4 of 62, that will play out as this race goes on. Verstappen and Norris. Verstappen said Norris kind of ruined him in qualifying yesterday, and Verstappen could have got pole. He had to abandon because he thought the McLaren impeded him. Well, he didn't, said race control. So they stay where they finished in qualifying. Verstappen, though, thought he could get pole over George Russell. Remember, George Russell actually hit the wall on his first lap. The FIA stewards, lap 1 turn 3 incident involving cars 4 Lando Norris and 81 has been reviewed, and no further investigation for causing a collision, which I think we all knew was going to go that way because it's a lap 1 incident. It's not turn 1, but it's actually turn 2. You could argue it's turn 3. Most likely, unless it's on purpose, they will give that a penalty, but no. As it stands, McLaren will be the Constructors' Champions for 2025. All they needed was for one car to finish on the podium, or both cars to finish in the top 7, really. And they are still 3rd and 4th, and they get 27 points from this weekend. which will mean McLaren will be the Constructors' Champions already at round 18 of this season as we head on to Raffles Boulevard here. And Norris still gaining to the highest mover is actually Colapinto in 13th. Let's have a look at the replay at this race start. So it was George Russell who got a great start. I thought Max Verstappen got a better start, but he braked really early going into turn 1. And then the McLarens made contact, and the Haas and one of the Saubers went off and took the long way around the first chicane. And George Russell, that start for him was electric. Piastri, though, was faster than Verstappen, going to 200 kilometers an hour, 0.03 seconds quicker than Verstappen. Charles Leclerc started 7th, now he's 5th, got a great start. Did he get a move on Antonelli around the outside of turn 1? Oh, they did make contact, just a little bit, just a brush. And round turn 3, that move was done. He also got a great look at the McLaren piece of contact, but it just looks like Lando went into Piastri. Looking at Hadjar now. Oh, and it's Oliver Behrman who just turns into the corner. And it's a case of, I think it was 3 into 1 doesn't go. And then you can see from Oscar why he thinks Lando's done that on purpose, because it just looks like it's a barge from Norris into Piastri, and he looks angry as he checks his mirrors. Piastri's notably calm as a person, and that's something interesting. So Colapinto, the highest mover. Sonoda's lost 4 positions. He's down to P17. Antonelli got track limits at turn 2 on lap 4. So if they add up, Piastri on the radio. And I don't know what he's saying, but in fact they've not transcripted it, so I can't tell you what they're saying to Piastri. It's going on for a while, I'll tell you that. Maybe it's McLaren saying they're not going to let him past. I don't know. We'll have to find out as this race unfolds. Russell leads the race now by 3.2 seconds, and the gap between Norris and Verstappen's been extended to 1.7. Close battles. Gasly on Sainz, Lawson on Hulkenberg, Behrman on Hadjar on Alonso, Antonelli on Leclerc as we go around the final corner, and we come on to lap 7 of 62 here. Oscar Piastri in 4th, chasing Norris for 3rd here, and it's been fastest lap again for George Russell, a 1:36.854. Fair play to him, he's doing well here. Zach Brown, the CEO of McLaren Racing, just taking a sip. I don't know what they're saying about that lap 1, turn 2 or 3 incident. I'll keep you updated from what I know as this race unfolds. We're on lap 7 of 62 as 2 pairs of McLaren made contact at the start. Mine Brundle said, I can't see why McLaren would swap drivers back. He thought it was punchy, opportunistic, aggressive, but it's a motor race. The ground rules have just been reset. I can't see how McLaren would swap that round or how they can justify it. But Oscar will say, okay, then that's it. That's how we're going racing. And we'll have to find out. We've got a yellow flag here, and we'll find out what's happened and who stopped on the track. It looks to be... Oh, I couldn't tell you. We've got a yellow flag. No one stopped on track. Oh, I thought it was Carlos Sainz. The yellow flag's gone. I don't know what happened. We didn't see anyone stop on the track map. Interesting. So the DRS has been re-enabled. I was in zone 1. So were they just clearing some debris? Interesting. So the yellow flag has been cleared, and well, unknown what that was for. We've got 55 laps left to go here. Lap 8 of 62, we're on board with Lewis Hamilton who's currently running in 7th, 1.2 behind Kimi Antonelli, the man who replaced him at Mercedes after Lewis Hamilton said he was retiring from Mercedes, not retiring from F1, leaving Mercedes at the end of last season. He left that team and now he's at Ferrari, a team where he's only won once, and that was the Chinese sprint race, if you can even call that a win. Ocon on the radio says, I have a problem with the brakes. Ocon is currently in P16. Interesting stuff. We got a battle for 5th between Leclerc, Antonelli and Hamilton. Leclerc's Antonelli, 8/10 off the back of Leclerc. Hamilton's 1.1 off the back of Antonelli, as we are on board the diffuser cam of Charles Leclerc into turn 14 and on the exit of that, so close to the wall. We've seen so many drivers get too close to that wall. It's going to be very interesting to see. Lewis Hamilton on board, driver's eye as we go into turn 16. We saw George Russell go off in FP2, hit the wall straight nail on, and it only took off the front wing. Gabriel Bortoletto has just been told the safety car window's been open. How are the tyres? Tyres are okay, pace is okay. The safety car window, though, is open. That's interesting. Last 4 laps, Verstappen's been quicker lap 5, 6 and 7 than Norris, but Norris was 1/10 quicker last lap than Norris lap 8. The battle for second is still 1.8 seconds between Norris and Verstappen, and Norris just been told we're happy with the level of life. 37 they're being told, so maybe they're saying they're going to be on those tyres until lap 37, or they've got 37 laps left on those tyres. It's a long way, so I would say they stop at lap 37. Interesting there. So the battle for second has actually decreased by 1/10, but it's Russell who's leading now by 4.4 seconds, and he's led from start to lap 9 so far. So we'll have to see what happens as we look on the helicopter cam as they all start sector 3 now. George Russell, the first one to lead them into it. He's on the mediums. Verstappen's going to have to pit first because he's on the softs, and those soft tyres don't last as long as the mediums. The mediums are balanced. They are balanced between longer tyre life and performance, so medium tyre life, medium performance. The soft, low tyre life, high performance, and the hard, long tyre life, low performance. But we don't see anyone on the hard, but we will see many cars go onto the hard going into the second half of this race. But George Russell, 9 laps, those tyres were new on the car as he goes onto the Ruffles Boulevard, and he's absolutely flying. Top speed down here, 288 kilometers per hour. And we're on lap 10 now of 62. The battle for first is 4.84 seconds. 53 laps to go here in Singapore. And we do have a 2-hour clock here, but I don't think we'll get anywhere close to that. We should be fine, or we might get close to it by about 15 minutes or 20, or maybe even 10 max. But I don't think, unless we have a safety car, we'll finish on time here. Of course, a race is 300 kilometers long, so that's why we got 62 laps, and if that is not reached, it's a 2-hour time race. But we should be fine for that, unless we've got many safety cars. And we're just looking on board Russell. We saw the shaking of his onboard cam around as we go now onto lap 11, round turn 17, that curb on the exit, very violent. We're also talking about the resurfacing into turn 16. There was a bump there last year. We still don't know whether there's a bump or not this year, or that if it's been removed or not. We'll have to find out. Toto Wolff watching on. He must be enjoying that. His driver George Russell, who still hasn't got a contract, Mercedes, is leading this race. Verstappen on the radio. Any change there with the downshift match? No, it's really beep. Understood. So Verstappen not having a good time in that car. He's in second. I don't know why he's complaining. I mean, he's losing time to Russell, but it's Max Verstappen. He'll always find something to complain about. He's a perfectionist. So we'll have to see what happens as this race goes on. A lap 11 of 62 as we are on the nose cam of Isaac Hadjar. Started 8th, now 9th, and he's on the back of Fernando Alonso. In fact, he's one of the closest to the cars in front. Lawson's also close, Tsunoda's close, and Albon's close, but there's only 4 cars close to each other as the field is starting to spread out. But the main headline so far here is Norris and Piastri made contact in the early stages of this race in 3rd and 4th. Wind here has died a bit since the start. It's 6.1 kilometers an hour. The track temp has risen and the air has gone down just a little bit since the start of this race. As we go on to lap 12 of 62 as George Russell crosses the line now. And so too do Charles Leclerc and Kimi Antonelli. Kimi Antonelli, Lewis Hamilton, they've been in that train for a long time. That won't help temperatures on the car. Of course, following increases the temperature on the cars. And we're on lap 12 of 62. As now, maybe add a few more cars onto that. No. I thought there was another car joining the battle. If it drops back a bit more, it might. Piastri would. Lando Norris, if there was a safety car, we would lose 4 cars. That's Oscar, Leclerc, Lando, and Hamilton. That's what they've just told. Sorry, Antonelli and Hamilton. So that's what they've just told Piastri or Lando. It was one of the McLarens. But interesting stuff. Live Drivers' Championship for Kimi Antonelli. If he'd finish here, he'd be 7th on 86 points. The points are not being that heavily spread out. It's mainly gone to McLarens, who've led so much this year, but now they've had to get used to rejoining the actual track action. Interesting stuff. We're on lap 12 of 62 here. Rookie drivers, Antonelli 6th, Hadjar 9th, Behrman 10th, Lawson 12th, Colapinto 13th, and Bortoletto 15th. As we see the ERS energy light regenerating on board as we look on Kimi Antonelli. So Leclerc regenerating now as we go down into turn 1, 2, and 3. And that opening start has always been the same. 1, 2, and 3 has stayed the same. The rest of the circuit may or may not have, but definitely one to look out for. As Lewis Hamilton, he's not been very put into the battle between Antonelli and Leclerc, but now he is. He's with 1 second on Hamilton, and Antonelli is literally in a Ferrari sandwich. It's interesting because one Mercedes is there, whereas the other, George Russell's leading this race. Just shows you how different it is in terms of drivers, but it also depends on the car, because Mercedes are more equal with car development than Red Bull. As you can see, Tsunoda's down there. They don't really develop the second car as much. It's not really about the second driver, because even the Racing Bulls are better than that second Red Bull seat. Of course, both Hadjar and Lawson are in 9th and 12th. So it's different. It's different in terms of performance for different cars on a team, but it's interesting to see how it's spread out as we go into the chicanes of turn 16 and 17. Lewis Hamilton were on driver's eye as we go around the final corner. You drop to 5th gear, up to 6th, then it will be 7th just as you cross the line. You should get into 8th, although Lewis doesn't go up into 8th as we go into turn 1. And Red Bull are coming out here for a stop. Bortoletto's in the pit lane. They've got a front wing. They're going to replace Tsunoda's, the Red Bull coming into pit. Oh, and Bortoletto's got damage to his front wing. I'd love to know where he's done that. But Norris said, "I've hit the wall, keep an eye on the right side." Interesting. Norris trying to follow Verstappen, so maybe the dirty air. It's a slow stop for Bortoleto. The car was not released. They had to attach the front wing, so usually that's an 8-second stop. It was an 11.2. So, interesting stuff. Nico Hulkenberg on the other Sauber is saying the car is beautiful. So here's what happened to Gabriel Bortoleto's front wing. It was Alonso. Was it Alonso? No, it was Stroll. Stroll came in and cut off his front wing on lap 1. We didn't notice that at all. No one knew that. Interesting stuff that's only come up to people's attention now. Lando Norris. Oh yeah, he hit the wall on the exit of turn 17. He's done that before in the practice sessions. It's just a graze. Yeah, it's just a graze. I think he also grazed it in practice. It was either practice 1 or 2, but he grazed it there, and still Norris has also got that floppy front end plates on the left hand side. Colapinto now in the pit lane, so we'll see what he does there as he comes in now. Crew are ready for him. Tyres put on. Oh, he's held for a longer time than he would have liked. It's a 2.7. It didn't feel like a 2.7. It felt a lot longer than that. As he's back into the race now, pit limiter off, and he will come out ahead of Tsunoda and Bortoleto. Whether that was to cover off the undercut, we won't know. Lando Norris, though, has gained 5/10 over 6 laps. It's a long race. And if you just did that, maybe 12 laps would be a second. That's a lot of time in this car. We see intervals getting further apart now. As we see, I think, was that Lando Norris's partner in the pit lane? Lando Norris on the radio now, telling him we are currently 3 or 4 cars on the window. So think about the undercut on Max. Lando Norris says, yeah, easy. Currently 3rd. Pit window's going to be open for the soft in 4 laps. That's lap 20 to 26. Verstappen's done 18 laps on those softs, considering he used those on quali. Alonso's only been on the softs for 17 laps, but he's about to cross the line, so he's probably done the same number of laps on the tyre as Verstappen. Interesting stuff here. As the Singapore Grand Prix continues, we're about 25 minutes into the race. 47 left here. And we're on lap 16 of 62. Russell still leading the way. It's down by 8 seconds. Pit window for the medium tyres is lap 26 to 32. And that applies to most of the grid from Albon up because Colapinto's already pitted. Both Tsunoda and Bortoleto went onto the hard tyres. Whether they're thinking about going on to the end, it's a possibility. Behrman's gone off on lap 14, so he had a lap time deleted and a track limit strike given. Interesting stuff there. As we exit now and we go around the final corner, the gap between George Russell and Max Verstappen, 8.1 seconds, and George Russell has led every single lap from start to finish, including this one as he crosses the line now. What a race so far for George Russell and the Mercedes. His teammate still stuck in that Ferrari sandwich of Leclerc and Hamilton. They are all 5th, 6th and 7th, but it's definitely that Mercedes who's having the better race so far. The only yellow flag we've had so far, we don't know what it was for. So interesting. Did Behrman... Behrman was just on his radio saying racing incident, so I don't know maybe whether there's been a incident between maybe him and Hadjar. I don't think there will have been. I think he might have been talking about the incident at turn 1. And Norris has been told, box to overtake Verstappen. Norris is on the mediums. So we'll have to see what that does, as we're about to. Norris is just entering the second sector. They've called that really early then. Unless it's asking him a question. And if they're saying box to overtake Verstappen, will that force Red Bull into boxing? Are they trying to pull off a dummy here, which will make Verstappen box and Norris can stay out? We'll see what happens here. Verstappen doesn't pull in. Norris doesn't either. And Norris, at the last second, they said stay out. I think they were doing a dummy and it didn't work out. 22 seconds is the average time lost. They changed the pit limiter to 80 kilometers an hour, which obviously changes the pit time in the pit lane. And it's changed it, I think, by about 7 seconds. It used to be 29. Under safety car, that becomes about 11. Or around there, maybe 14. Around about 11 to 14 seconds, depending on how quick your stop is. 45 laps to go here in Singapore. We're on lap 18 of 62. Verstappen is currently second, Norris third. Will they make... Look, when will Lando box? Because they told Lando to box last lap. He didn't box. They told him to stay out. When will Max box? Because I think what McLaren are trying to do is to get Red Bull to box so Lando can get past effectively. We'll have to see, because Lando has got the longer tyres. Verstappen's on the softs. Norris is on the mediums. Whether they just did that to try and pull Verstappen into the pits, we do not know. We'll have to find out after the race, as Lando is on the back of Max. And Verstappen and Norris coming down round turn 17. I don't know why I said round. Turn 19 now is the final corner as we go onto the straight, and as we talk about 19, we're on lap 19 of 62 of this Singapore Grand Prix. It's Russell, Verstappen, Norris, Piastri, Leclerc, Antonelli, Hamilton, Alonso, Hadjar, Behrman, Hulkenberg, Lawson, Stroll, Ocon, Sainz, Gasly, Albon, Colapinto, Tsunoda and Bortoleto. Albon and Gasly started in the pit lane. They are 16th and 17th, if you don't count the ones that pitted, which are Tsunoda and Bortoleto and Colapinto. I don't know what to say about the start for them. We'll find out towards the end of the race how that worked out for them. Kimi Antonelli still on the back of Leclerc, but the gap's gone down to 1.1 seconds. He's been in that sandwich for a long, long time. The gap between the Mercedes is 21 seconds, which can say a lot. But we'll have to see what happens as the race goes on. We are about a quarter into this race. We've done 13 minutes of the race, so it's probably a good substitute calculation, whatever you want to call it, prediction. Well, an estimation, that's what I meant, as until Leclerc and Hamilton now go round turn 14. McLaren and Verstappen are in the pit lane. Verstappen's boxed and Norris hasn't. So Verstappen in the box now. Whilst the pit stop, the rear had a bit of an issue, and it's a 3.0 stop time. Not the best stop time. It had an issue on the rear rear right tyre, putting it on, and will come out. Should just come out ahead of the Aston Martin of Alonso. Yes, they will, by 7/10. The gap as they came out of the pit lane, and Alonso will pick up lovely DRS as we go down Raffles Boulevard. Lando Norris and Max Verstappen, the gap is 21.4 seconds, and now Lando Norris on those mediums has got to drag those tyres out, or do they box him? Because both times they've come out to tell Norris to box, they've brung out the hard tyres. Verstappen just being told outlap critical is because of the difference between Norris and Verstappen. Fernando Alonso now in 8th for Aston Martin. The number 14 did top FP1 this weekend, won this race before. As we look at Andy Cole on the pit wall for Aston Martin, as Lando Norris comes around and completes his first lap in P2. The pit crew are staying just where they are for now. As we go round the chicane, and if you are enjoying our coverage, make sure to like and subscribe for more coverage of Formula 1, of course, next time it's back out. They will be in Austin, Texas, for the United States Grand Prix at the circuit of the Americans. Hadjar now coming into pit, and let's see how good this pit stop is. We've not had any really perfect pit stops, faultless pit stops so far in this race. Maybe this could be the first. They come in. That is definitely the first. That's a great pit stop. It's a 2.4 for Hadjar as he leaves the pit lane now. And will he come out ahead of Colapinto? Colapinto late braking. They're going to be alongside each other into turn 3. Round the outside go Colapinto. They're still too wide, but Hadjar just got out ahead of the Alpina Colapinto. Hadjar looked to weave as they went into the corner leading into Raffles Boulevard. Colapinto nearly got some oversteer into the wall. We've got DRS and Slipstream, and Hadjar moving. He's moving under braking there. Maybe Colapinto will be complaining about that, but this has probably been the most excitement we've got in a few laps. Colapinto on the back of Isaac Hadjar, and Colapinto's already boxed. Hadjar has just boxed. Hadjar's now come out on the hard tyres. And Leclerc now coming into box from P4, which Antonelli moves into, and that pit stop is a 2.3, just 0.1 quicker than Hadjar, but it definitely could have been a lot quicker. Behrman is going to come round. Behrman should go past. It'll be a race between him and Hulkenberg. Can Hulkenberg get past Leclerc here? Leclerc should just be out ahead, or not. Hulkenberg's out ahead of Leclerc, and that shouldn't have happened. I don't know what Leclerc did on the exit of the pit lane, but it should have been a lot quicker than that. That is very disappointing for Ferrari. Maybe it was driver error on the exit. I'd love to see a replay of where he got that wrong on the exit now as we go on to Raffles Boulevard. As we get... Oh, they're nearly making contact. Leclerc goes down the inside, and Leclerc is past Nico Hulkenberg, and Leclerc has got P9 in what should have been a lot easier work and shouldn't have required an overtake, but at least we got an overtake. Verstappen on the radio now, being told he's free to push, and Verstappen saying, I'll try, mate, but everything is working against me this race. He's currently P6. On the hard tyres, he probably shouldn't box again, or at least I don't think he will have to. Unless there's a safety car, I see it being a one-stop strategy. And it shouldn't rain either. But yeah, you're watching the Singapore Grand Prix here on FT Sport. And yes, if you are enjoying us, make sure to like and subscribe for more. And yes, the United States Grand Prix is live. Well, it might not be live, we'll find out. It's, though, in 2 weeks' time in Austin, Texas. Lap 23 of 62, now as the car of the Red Bull is going round, and Verstappen 6 does have the fastest lap in this race. He got it last lap with a 136.330, and if that continues, then fair play to him, doing incredibly well. We have got 40 laps left here in Singapore, Marina Bay, and it is gone around about 7:40 p.m. 8:40 p.m. here, local time here. It's a 7-hour time difference between the UK and Singapore, as we are in the Asian continent here under the night lights. 1,400 wires, I think they use for the light bulbs. Russell on the radio, I know you've got those gaps and you're trying as hard as you can. Norris was 3.6. Russell saying this is my pace, my tires are dropping. So do they think that they should bring Russell in? Russell's on the mediums, and the pit stop window for the mediums is around lap 26 to 32. So probably watch out for Russell, Norris, Piastri, Antonelli, Hamilton, Behrman, Hulkenberg, Lawson, Ocon, Sainz, Gasly, Albon, not Colapinto, but they're all going to pit around that window. Talking about pitting, here comes Behrman into the pit. He was on the medium tyres, so let's see what tyres he goes on to. 2.8 stop. And coming out now in P14, I don't think he'll come out ahead of Gasly or Albon. No, he'll come out ahead though of Isaac Hadjar, and he's on the hard tyres now. And he does come out in traffic. They've also told Alonso that Piastri, currently Leclerc's 5 seconds behind your pit window. Piastri says, I don't want to lose track position to him. Degradation feels pretty low. Copy. They tell him. Verstappen now in P6. As we go into the final chicane of turns 16 and 17, and Hamilton's being told to box, and that's the car who's in front of Verstappen, and he does box now, so we didn't see a Hamilton-Verstappen fight, which many fans probably would have wanted to get, but we don't get to see that today here in Singapore, maybe later in the race if anything goes wrong. This pit stop though, the front right, sorry, didn't go on. And it's a slow stop, 3.5 seconds for Hamilton. Now, where does Lawson come out? Lawson's coming round the final corner now. And he should... Oh, it'll be close here. Hamilton will just get out in front. And a lot better in pit exit than his teammate. And we'll have to see. We're on lap 25 of 62. 38 to go. We're almost approaching the halfway point of this Singapore Grand Prix, and the wind has dropped here to 5 kilometers an hour. The track temperature gone up, and the air temperature just gone up by 0.2 degrees Celsius. Here's that slow pit stop for Lewis Hamilton. He came into the pit lane. He didn't stop on his brake on his marks wrong. Oh, he just fumbled with the front right when they were trying to take it off. Now Russell's in the pit lane. This is the race leader. Norris stays out. Piastri stays out as well. Antonelli is coming around that turn 16-17 chicane. Russell should come out ahead. Oh no, Antonelli, they're double stacking. They're double stacking. We'll have to see what goes on with the Antonelli stop. Russell leaves the pit lane, comes out ahead of Verstappen by 4 seconds. Antonelli, pit stop 2.4 seconds. The double stack for Mercedes has paid off very well there. And where will Antonelli come out? Oh, he's come out behind Charles Leclerc. But Hulkenberg's pitted as well. And Antonelli's just been thrown right back in to that Ferrari sandwich, which you don't want to see. And Bortoletto's been told we'll race Hulkenberg at pit exit. But I don't think they will. Box, they say to Norris. So Norris is boxing. Hulkenberg's still in the pit lane. And in fact, Bortoletto got 1.9 seconds close to Hulkenberg on the back. That's all though, they're not racing as much. keep an eye on that Norris-Verstappen gap, and we'll see what happens now. Norris is coming around corner 17, now into 18, 19, and dives into the pit lane. This has to be good from Norris. It's an 80-kilometre pit limiter, and he hits that just fine. Piastri takes the lead of the Singapore Grand Prix for the first time this afternoon, or you could say this evening. Norris, great stop by McLaren. That's the best of the lot, I think, so far. It's a 2.1 second pit stop. That's perfect for McLaren. You don't see many better than that. And quite frankly, Norris deserves that after a very slow stop in Baku. And he will come out behind Verstappen, and the gap's 4.9 seconds. But remember, Verstappen's had that extra few laps to push on those quicker and, not quicker, but less worn, hard tyres. So he moves into P3, and he's got a fast lap, but we'll have to see Norris's pace on those new hard tyres. Isaac, listen carefully. We have an engine issue, 3 to 4 tenths a lap. I'm really sorry it's back. Hadjar saying, what is wrong with this engine again? Well, he won't be happy, and Hadjar is currently in P15. I don't know if they're going to retire that car. Maybe if it becomes a bit of a stronger issue. They're only losing 4 to 5 tenths a lap, but it will be frustrating. As you can already hear from Hadjar. Hadjar's voice, but well, here we go. Piastri now coming into the pit lane. Oh, and he almost hit the inside wall going into the pit lane, and here comes Oscar Piastri. You have to wonder how long's this pit stop going to take as they come in now. Oh, they couldn't take the front left tyre off. It's still stationary. Oh, it's horrendous. It's a 5.2 pit stop for Oscar Piastri. That was an absolute shambles of a stop for Oscar Piastri. And Norris definitely got a better stop there. 2.1 seconds. And wow, Piastri got the worst of it this weekend. And he got it even worse than Lando Norris did in Baku. Wow. I didn't think it could get worse, but it did. 5.1 seconds, the pit stop there. They're still holding Alonso. They can't get the front right tyre off for Alonso. They couldn't secure it. That pit stop was 9.2 seconds, and they didn't even replace the ring. His teammate is in P9. Alonso should come out ahead of Hadjar. Behind Hadjar, ahead of Colapinto, which he does. But it's all about Oscar Piastri, a 5.1 second pit stop, and once again he will be furious, and it's a McLaren pit stop error that's done it again. Unbelievable. It's happened again, and it just can't keep going on at this point. Reminder, if you are enjoying the stream, you are enjoying the live time, make sure to like and subscribe for more F1 coverage. Oscar Piastri just can't believe his luck. And down the inside went a Haas here. Oh, it was close between Behrman and Albon. Interesting stuff. We're on lap 29 of 62, and now the car of Kimi Antonelli is on the back of Charles Leclerc. Antonelli in 6th, Charles Leclerc in 5th place. Lap 29 of 62, 34 to go. We're almost halfway. Race distance here in Singapore. We're about an hour and 13 minutes left on the race clock, and that is only going to be in the race if we don't finish 62 laps. And I think it's 2 hours plus 1 lap, or it's just 2 hours. I think it's just 2 hours. The gap between Antonelli and Leclerc is the closest it's been all race, 4 tenths. Antonelli on those hard tyres, just like Leclerc, but Antonelli did, I think, pit before Charles Leclerc, so he'll have fresher tyres. And we'll have to see how that plays difference to that Kimi Antonelli getting really close here on the back of Charles Leclerc. And we're going on. Here's Alonso on the radio. 34 to go. Oh, Alonso, if you speak to me every lap, I will disconnect the radio. Alonso may be getting a bit angry in that car. He is in 15th. I mean, if you could disconnect the radio, then I don't know how you disconnect the radio in an F1 car. Because obviously I've never been in an F1 car. I didn't even know you could connect the radio. I thought it was just something they played into your ears. Does he mean just take it out of his ear? I don't know. We are on lap 30 of 62. And if they speak to me every lap, says Alonso, they'll disconnect the radio. Or maybe they should say 33 to go next lap, and maybe they won't get a response from him for the rest of the race. Interesting stuff. We go around turn 6 with Leclerc and Antonelli. They're closest they've been so far this race, but the current order is Russell, Verstappen, Norris, Piastri, Leclerc, Antonelli, Hamilton, Lawson, Stroll, Ocon, Sainz, Behrman, Albon, Hadjar, Alonso, Colapinto, Tsunoda, Hulkenberg, Bortoletto and Gasly. As we go round into turn 11 now, and 12 into Mandalay Bridge, 115 years old, into turn 13. Now on the exit, and Antonelli going now on Leclerc. He's not close, he's actually 65 metres off Leclerc. Going now, the gap's closing. 7.6 metres was the closest they've been. That was in the middle of that turn 16-17 chicane as we go through 18 into 19. Now on the exit as we go now onto the straight, and maybe Antonelli with that slipstream just trying to get a bit closer, but he can't get closer into turn 1 as we go now into turn 3. It was a 7.4 metre gap. Closest there in the apex of that corner, Leclerc still ahead on Raffles Boulevard, but now it will be Antonelli who gets the DRS, and the meters are closing second by second, and you can see the live speed of Leclerc. Above Leclerc's car lies a new graphic on the TV broadcast, and it's a great graphic to say the absolute least. Ocon in the pit lane and drops to 20th. And coming out of the pit lane now does Ocon, and we'll find out what tyres he's on in a second. I think it's the hard tyres. I don't see it being anything else. No, it's hard tyres. Antonelli's deploying his battery. He's got 30% remaining. Leclerc's harvesting, neutral. He's got 60% remaining on his ERS. As we're about to hit half race distance in just a few seconds. Well, no, not a few seconds, in a lap. Apologies. Lap 32 of 62. As we go into 1, 2 and 3 with Leclerc now on board with Antonelli. Currently 25 points will be going to Russell, 18 to Verstappen. Antonelli actually got the fastest lap. His best lap's a 35.3, which is the fastest lap of this race, which will see him get an extra point, which will mean he gets 8 points when it comes to the end of this race. As the wind's decreased more, it's 4.7. The air temperature's gone down to 29.2 degrees Celsius. The track temperatures stay the same at 33.8 degrees Celsius. As Oliver Behrman on the back of Carlos Sainz can't find a way past as we go now into the low downforce corners of turn 7, 8 and You could say 9 is tight, but it's mainly the exit of turn 9. You want to get close to that wall, but you don't want to hit it, obviously. And then turn 10 was where George Russell went off last season on the last lap. He's not finished the last 3 Singapore Grand Prix here. And he's actually, I think he's crashed on every single one of them. So far, he's dominating, and George Russell himself said coming into this weekend, it's not his favourite race at all. And he said himself he's not the best at this track, but he's not showing any signs of that as it currently stands, as he's absolutely dominating. However, that gap between Russell and Verstappen is now 3.2 seconds, which is a lot smaller than it was in the early stages of this race. It was actually 8 seconds at a push. Whether that was because Verstappen was on really old softs, we don't know. And maybe that affected Verstappen a bit. Lap 33 of 62, and we have passed our race distance, and maybe Alonso's disconnected his radio already, and that's going to be a funny radio message. Maybe him to look back, maybe add that to the words of wisdom, as Charles Leclerc says, for the radio. Lance Stroll yet to pit in P9, and Lance Stroll still on those soft tyres. Fair play to him, he's done 34 laps on them, and that is a lot of laps. And there's his family there, they're watching along. Quite a lot of them actually, a few kids, a few parents, a few hopefully not a few partners, but some grandparents as well. I mean, hopefully not a few partners, maybe not a few parents, maybe just 1 or 2. Pierre Gasly in P19, what happened here? Did he hit the wall turn 17? Oh yes he did, it definitely wasn't a graze that. It's not just a graze, it was quite far away from it, and then he hit it later on. Wait, no. The replay we just saw was not Pierre Gasly whatsoever. We were waiting for him to come and they didn't show it. There he did, he clipped it with the rear. And a bit of carbon fibre coming off here. And I think they said in FP1, I don't know. No, it was FP2, Liam Lawson, they said that will not be the last person to hit that wall at turn 17. It certainly wasn't. George Russell, 4 career race wins. And currently right now he's on his way to make that 5, but that gap's still come down. The gap's now 2.8 seconds from 3.6, I think it was a few laps ago. But we'll have to see. Still Antonelli's in that Ferrari sandwich of Hamilton and Leclerc, but it's more Antonelli trying to push the upper crust of that sandwich of Leclerc. And there's a massive gap from Hamilton to Lawson, which is about 18 seconds. Well, no, sorry, it's 16 seconds. Because Hamilton's 3.4 off the back of Antonelli, and Lawson's 20.1 off the back of Hamilton. I've overcomplicated that a lot. It's a 20.4 gap. Between Lawson and Hamilton, that's a 20.4 gap on the map you're seeing, whereas Hamilton's going around turn 3. Lawson's just coming around turn 17 now. The corner that he crashed at. In FP2, he also crashed in FP3 at turn 7. He got on the curb of the exit, which he wouldn't want, and he did a spin. Let's talk about biggest movers so far this race. Russell Verstappen, no positions gained. Norris has gained 2. Piastri's lost 1. Leclerc's gained 2. Antonelli's lost 2. Hamilton's lost 1. Lawson's gained 4. Stroll's gained 6, but he's yet to pit. Sainz has gained 8. Behrman's lost 2. Alex Albon's gained 8. Hadjar's lost 5. Alonso's lost 4. Colapinto's gained 1. Tsunoda's lost 3. Hulkenberg's lost 6. Bortoletto's lost 4. Gasly's gained and lost none. and Ocon's lost 3. So interesting stuff. We're on lap 36 of 62. And we will await what happens here. Carlos Sainz yet to pit. It's been a quiet race for a while now. At some points, and maybe this is one of them, there's a few cars within each other. Those you can see on your live timing. There's cars in a light green, and there's some in a lighter green. In terms of interval, the light green, as in the darker green, is the cars that are close to each other but not the closest. And the cars that are in the lightest green, that's the closest cars on the track, and they're the ones you want to watch out for. There are cars that are like 1.2 seconds between each other, 1.0 seconds away from each other, but they don't apply. So I think this, whatever the lifetime is looking at as it stands, I don't know, maybe they're not involved in a battle as much, although I would argue both Vettel, Hulkenberg and Tsunoda in a battle, but we'll have to find out what happens. Lap 37 of 62. As we see now Verstappen getting closer to Russell. Did Verstappen have... Verstappen's lost a lot of time, actually. Did he... Oh, he locked up. Verstappen locked up fully. Verstappen on radio. Beep, man, it's so hard to drive. He said a swear word in the middle of that as well. It's so beep to drive. So just fill in the gaps. As we see Ocon. Oh, when we go back to live action with Alonso and Hadjar, also Alonso got pushed into the wall by Hadjar. Alonso now on the back of Isaac Hadjar. Alonso pulls to the outside as we go into turn 16. Alonso ahead, but Hadjar still fighting. Hadjar stays ahead. Now into turn 17, it's going to be Alonso. Well, I think, Alonso will get DRS. Going now onto the main straight, and he will. And Hadjar moves to the inside, trying to cover off Alonso. Hadjar still ahead. And Alonso maybe trying the outside. Won't go round the outside. Another DRS detection point, and almost Alonso spun. I don't know who is ahead as they crossed that detection point. I don't know whether it was Alonso or not, or maybe Hadjar. But Alonso takes the position. It was actually Hadjar who's ahead. And Alonso still ahead. And Hadjar will not fight that back. As it stands, McLaren will be the Constructors' Champions in 2025. Still 27 points gained for McLaren. Alonso on the radio. Trophy for the hero of the race. Is he talking about himself or Hadjar? Oh. He's talking about Hadjar because he's just said, we lost 5 seconds of a hero today. Congrats, it was good fun. That is a bit of sarcasm there, as the Williams is on the back of, is it? No, yeah it is. We're now on Stroll. So Stroll and Sainz now in a bit of a battle. Sainz got a podium last time out in Baku, but it's so hard to overtake here. You don't get it that much. 25 laps to go. As the Aston Martin now is trying to hold off both Sainz and Behrman. As we go to a replay, and this is Alonso. Hadjar has some very interesting moves. He moves to the inside. Then it doesn't force Alonso wide. Alonso almost getting too much of the power on the exit. Oh, he has a massive snap, but he's able to recover it. And calling him a hero of the race. Hadjar, I think that's a opposite. I think he means that in the opposite way. But Alonso already making known that nothing's gone his way. The radio don't like it. 25 to go. They've just said Alonso. I'm very certain Alonso's about to disconnect the radio. He said they told him there was 34 to go, and he said he was going to disconnect the radio. So interesting stuff to go. George Russell, 24 laps to go. I know it's tough out there. They're telling him on the radio. Of course, this has been the first ever F1 heat hazard race, and the only thing really is they're all wearing cooling suits, which are basically hoses, maybe attached to their suits. It's like slushy underneath those hoses, and if they can wear that if they want. If they don't want to, it's an extra 5 kilograms of ballast either way that they have to add to the car. So I think most drivers will have opted for the cooling suits. I don't see any reason why not to. Stroll's in the pit lane now, and this is his first pit stop of the race, so he'll come off those soft tyres, and I think he could even go onto the mediums. I say he would go onto the mediums. In fact, he's put on the softs. So of all the tyres you could have gone to... Oh no, sorry, he's gone onto the mediums. It said Stroll had gone onto the softs on the live timings. It's changed now to the mediums. Verstappen on the radio saying the rear is like a handbrake, please help. Has the team give him maybe a setting to change that? A lot of brake balance and all that being changed. Lap 40 now is 62, and 23 left to go as the laps are ticking down quicker as the fuel gets lower. Russell still leads this race, and the gap between him and Verstappen stayed 4.8, but the battle now could be on between Verstappen and Norris, which AWS is predicting the battle will happen in one lap. The battle for second place. Interesting stuff. We've seen a few more lap times deleted. First few in a while. They were Verstappen at 30 on lap 37 at turn 2, and also at turn 2 on lap 38. 2 lap times deleted there for Verstappen at the same corner in consecutive laps. So he's had 2 track limits warnings. Interesting stuff. Lap 41 of 62 as Russell has crossed the line as he heads into turn 1. Verstappen crossing the line, and now Norris crossing the line. The gap's 1.5. Norris has lost a tenth as we go now into turn 2 and into 3, and it's Norris trying to basically go down the inside of it's Verstappen trying to take more of that inside curb off to increase time lost, and he's taken off too much of it, which therefore has led him into getting track limits warnings, and we'll keep you up to date, and you can also see that on your screen. And if you're enjoying what you're seeing on your screen, make sure to like and subscribe for more F1 coverage. Of course, we've got all the live time, and that's a live track map you're seeing, by the way, and those are AI radio transcriptions, including live race control updates, which we are keeping you up to date with throughout this Singapore Grand Prix. Lap 41 of 62, and Norris is 1.5 off Max Verstappen, who's in second. They said they were going to battle this lap. I don't see it happening yet, so maybe the prediction was a bit wrong as they come round, and that will be the lap where the battle was meant to begin. In fact, Norris has lost a lot at that final chicane. In fact, he's lost loads of times. It's 2.3 seconds. 7 tenths. Verstappen was quicker. 8 tenths alone in sector 3. Norris was 0.078 quicker in sector 2. Verstappen was 0.068 quicker in Sector 1. So interesting stuff going on. 53 minutes on the 2-hour clock, which we should not get anywhere close. We've not seen a safety car. We've seen a safety car in every Singapore Grand Prix except from last season. Maybe we're starting a streak of races here at Singapore without a safety car. This was Lando Norris at the final corner. Oh, we just misjudged that last corner. And got so close, he had a bit of a twitch on both the entry and the exit of the chicane, which is not what you want, and what happened. And it's a bit of a shame, which George Russell, who still leads the way, is by 4.2. He's got a back mark behind him. He's starting to lap some cars now. That is Stroll behind him, and Stroll is in P20. He's the only car a lap down, but there is a group of Ocon, Gasly, Bortoleto, Hulkenberg, and Tsunoda, Colapinto ahead, which he might get a bit close. They're all going around turn 3, and George Russell took on into turn 1. There's a car off, and it was the Williams of, I think that might have been, it's not Carlos Sainz, it's the Williams of Alexander Albon, and it was Fernando Alonso. I didn't see what happened, but he's still on the track, and he's still going, and they are now fighting with the Saubers. The Saubers are fighting. Oh, there's a bunch of front wing that's come flying off of one of the cars. I don't know what it was, as the Alpine down the inside of the Sauber. They are side by side as we're about to go onto the bridge, and that's a single file only there. And if you don't, well, 2 into 1 there doesn't go. As we go now, as we start, the DRS will open for some, and the DRS won't open for some. Verstappen on the radio, the balance is completely out again, it's undrivable, says Verstappen. Well, he's in second, and he's currently driving it back to the barrel in the back, which actually, we said not long ago, Russell's catching up. This was Alonso and Alex Albon. Alex Albon locked up, and there wasn't contact at all. Albon just went off the track himself. So, that's what happened. And then Yuki Tsunoda, did he have a moment at the final corner? Oh, he nearly went into the back of the Alpine. Still fine as he went around the last corner and almost got pushed into the wall. That would have been a high-speed crash there. Colapinto also going wide, which left room for Tsunoda to get past, which probably started that whole ordeal. This is Hulkenberg on the back. Is this the car that lost a bit of its front wing? I don't see it happening yet. Oh, yes, it did. That was the car that lost its front wing. It was Colapinto shredding it off. And a bit more just flew off as it went onto the straight. It was very close to him, to be fair. So currently, that order is Colapinto, Hulkenberg, Bortoleto, Gasly, Ocon, Stroll, and Albon, but Albon not that involved. And did Albon just pit? I think Albon just pitted. Piastri on the radio, we now think we should take for the safety car for a soft tyre. Just let me know if you strongly disagree. Piastri said, I don't know what to do right now. You do whatever you think is best. Piastri's team say, well, McLaren says, copy that, we think we got it. 11 seconds is the time lost under a safety car or virtual safety car. So I'll have to see what happens with that. Lap 44 of 62. There is 19 laps left of this Grand Prix. Russell coming around turn 17 now. Turn 18 and into 19. As this race progresses further here in the Singapore night of the Marina Bay Street Circuit. So many light bulbs has to be used, and if one generator goes out here, 1 in 4 lights will be lost. So we'll have 3 every 4 lights still on, and it'll take a long, well, oh, there's a car off. It's one of the Saubers. It is Nico Hulkenberg. He went flying off those hard tyres are done. They've got flat spots all over. That's what the yellow flag's for. And that was Hulkenberg dramatically going off. And he will be out of the battle. And we'll have to see what happened as the green flag's back out. This is what happened with Hulkenberg. Did he just lock up? He didn't anticipate. It was the car in front. It was, I think, Gasly who braked too early for him. No, it wasn't Gasly, it was Colapinto. Colapinto brakes earlier than Hulkenberg for, and Hulkenberg reacted to it too sharpishly to avoid a crash. It avoided a crash, but it also involved him going off. And he's just lost the position as well to Albon. Russell on the radio. Beep blue flags, get out of the way. I think that reminds us of Sebastian Vettel there, who crashed here. Well, no, was involved on a lap 1 incident, most notably here in 2017, when both Ferraris crashed into each other, and Verstappen took Alonso, Verstappen, Raikkonen and Vettel out of the race. Vettel kept going but slipped on his own radio fluid and decided it's not going to be able to continue any further, so he stopped. So those 4 cars are out on lap 1, but here no one's out yet. Hulkenberg's in the pit lane, and he's been in the pit lane for a long time, but he's coming out. I don't think Hulkenberg will be happy. I think he's just anticipated it, and yes, but I think the reaction was really early. He had a lot more time to react to that, and he turned way too sharpishly, which caused the car to lose traction and ultimately go off of the track, and luckily didn't collect Colapinto. Verstappen on the radio once again for this race, saying I'm struggling a lot now. Well, he's been struggling for all this race, but Norris is 6/10 off the back of Verstappen. Verstappen wasn't too happy with Norris yesterday, saying he ruined his last qualifying run. That's his idea, that's his opinion, so we'll have to see what happens now. Of course, if you are watching us, if you are enjoying it, we've got live leaderboard with live track map, AI radio transcriptions, FIA race control, updates. Although they've not had to say that much, other than a few lap 1 incidents. And the gap between Norris and Verstappen is now 4/10. And you can see him in the background, and they had to get around the lap traffic of the Haas, and they just couldn't. And Hamilton pitted there as a 2.3 second stop. And coming out of the pit lane will be ahead by Lawson by a long way. And Hulkenberg, one of the lap cars, got ahead of him, so he will maybe have to give that. He should give that position back to Hamilton when the blue flag comes out again. So lap 47 of 62 here. As we approach the final stage of this race, Lando Norris not going to try anything into 16, not into 17 because he's too far back. As we go now into the final corner. Well, it's an interesting final corner because it's 2 final corners in one. It's a little straight before the next one. It's a very interesting final 2 corners. It kind of reminds you of Bahrain, but the other way around. Interesting stuff. Norris will have DRS and slipstream. The front wing still bending. They've not told FIA, have not brought out that black and orange flag saying they have to replace it. It's not dangerous. It's still quite intact. It's just a bit bent. But nevertheless, we are continuing here. If you are enjoying this, remember to like and subscribe for more Formula 1 content as we watch the Singapore Grand Prix, the last few laps, as we are into the final 15 laps of this race. 48 out of 62 laps gone. Norris on the back of Verstappen. Alonso's gained the position on Lawson. And Norris was close but didn't want to rush it. There's still a long way to go. Hamilton, fastest sector 1. He's on those soft tyres. I expect him to get the fastest lap this lap. Piastri on the radio. And he's been told we have 8 cars within 10 seconds. Massive following. It's like starting a race in the middle of a pack. And it is. It's absolutely chaotic. Involved in that is Ocon, Gasly, Bortoleto, Norris, Verstappen, Colapinto. Norris and Verstappen are in a battle, and they've got through all of that except from Colapinto. So there's only one car to go left of that. And just we say that, oh, Colapinto let Verstappen by, but Norris couldn't get through. So Norris won't be very happy with Colapinto, and I wouldn't be as well, because the gap between Norris and Verstappen is now 9/10. And it was a lot closer, and it would have been a lot more closer if Colapinto didn't do that. Antonelli's just had his fastest lap taken from him. Hamilton just got the fastest lap. It's a 33.808, which is better than Antonelli's 35.303. Piastri on the radio. And this is a chaotic pack. So many cars forming all together. And basically all those cars that are actually racing in this pack, you can see Esteban Ocon, if we call the brakes now, we might get a chance at the next blue. That's when a car gets caught out by the blue flag. Interesting stuff. So Hamilton did get that fastest lap. Lawson is in the pit lane. There's the gap between Russell and Verstappen. Russell leads this race by 6.0. The longest he's led this race was 8 seconds. He's not led every single lap of it because he's pitted earlier than the McLarens. Piastri held the lead for a bit. Norris held the lead for a bit, I believe. But maybe will Norris get a chance here? Down Raffles Boulevard, DRS, and no, it's still not good enough for Lando Norris to get past here. Lap 50 of 62, 13 laps left to go here. Sector 1, Sector 2, Verstappen's quicker at, and Sector 3 is where Norris is just that little bit quicker. But overall, Norris was quicker last lap, 6.7 seconds, 0.67 seconds is the current gap. That goes to 8.2, now 7.7 as it goes down as we go across the Mandalay Bridge. That bridge, as we were told earlier on, was 115 years old. And they used to use the other side of that bridge back in 2008. They changed it to use the other side as they got rid of the Singapore sling. Verstappen, Norris battling in these last few laps of the race for that second place. Norris in third. And Verstappen second. As we go down to turn 1, Verstappen still holding on here. Norris on the back of Verstappen. There should be a chance for a move. They say there's a blue flag for a car that's not even there. There was no cars near Norris and Verstappen whatsoever. I think they were still looking at Yuki Tsunoda's and they forgot to take it off. Because Russell is on the back of Tsunoda, Hadjar, Behrman and Sainz. That confuffle of cars. When will be the point where Norris can get closest. Well, it surely could be the two DRS straights that are coming up very shortly as we go now around 11 and 12. And after this 13, this will be where the first DRS straight is. First DRS straight for Norris. Just getting out the slipstream, trying to cool some stuff down. Now as we go round 14, another DRS straight, got to get as close to the exit as you can. Verstappen got way closer to the wall than Norris. Norris was 1.4 seconds quicker than Piastri on lap 50 of this race, or on lap 51. So we'll see what that looks like later on. Sainz is in the pit lane as he departs that massive group of cars. He was actually the leader of that. As now, so we'll see what that Sainz pit stop time is. It was, and it is a 2.9 second stop time. Not the best, not the worst. Max Verstappen, 120 career podiums. He's never won this Singapore Grand Prix. As it stands, he'll never win it. Oh no, he'll say it again next season. We'll say it here again next season. That he's never won the Singapore Grand Prix of all races on the current F1 calendar. That will be also including Madrid. So that stat might be useless by next season. Lap 52 is 62. We've got 11 laps left of this 36 minutes if we need those, but we definitely do not. Unless we do get maybe a safety car or two in these last few laps. But in every race except from last season, we've had a safety car here. And that stat might include last season and this season. So we'll have to find out what happens as we see Verstappen and Norris go back onto the DRS straight. Coming around turn 15. We're about to go into 16 and 17 and the gap 0.6, and it's hard to overtake here. It's easy to follow if you're in a massive group, which we've seen. Maybe not a small group, but we'll have to find out. 10 laps to go, and we've got a new graphic on the screen that actually tells us that. It looks very nice, you've got to admit. So 10 laps to go, and here's the order. Russell, Verstappen, Norris, Piastri, Leclerc, Antonelli, Hamilton, Alonso, Behrman, Hadjar, Tsunoda, Colapinto, Bortoleto, Sainz, Stroll. Oh, Norris is going to go around the outside of Verstappen. No, he can't. Sparks were flying there. Just shows you how close these cars are to the floor. I knew I might have to stop during the middle of that because they were that close, but it was closest. Interesting stuff. Interesting stuff indeed. So let's go through the full order so far before I get interrupted. Russell, Verstappen, Norris, Pierre have done it again. It's Piastri, Leclerc, Antonelli, Hamilton, Alonso, Behrman, Hadjar, Tsunoda, Colapinto, Bortoleto, Sainz, Stroll, Albon, Ocon, Lawson, Hulkenberg and Gasly. As it stands though, McLaren will be the Constructors' Champions of 2025. And they will have won it by a long way, and almost the second Red Bull going into the path of Lando Norris. That would have been Yuki Tsunoda. He's just been lapped. All the cars up till Hadjar has been lapped. So close between Lando and Verstappen on that lap as we go now to start lap 54 of this race. And I'm very interested to see who might be on top of it by the end of it between these two, Verstappen or Norris. Russell still leads, and he leads by 5.5 seconds. So half the grid has been lapped. That's how dominant Russell's been. Next up for Russell's Behrman. So he should lap Behrman. Alonso's close as well. If he's going to get Alonso, that should be it. But I don't think he'll get Alonso. I don't think he should get Behrman. I don't think he'll get Alonso. If he does get Alonso, that will be the last car, because the car of Gasly is just crossing the line now, so that's quite impossible for Russell to gain half a lap well, it's about 30 seconds. Half a lap, we'll say 45 seconds. That's a lot of time to gain within 9 laps. It's not possible, they say. Anything's possible in Formula 1. But maybe this overtake between Norris and Verstappen might not be. Overtaking's rare at this circuit. That's why qualifying matters so much. DRS open for Lando Norris on the back of Max Verstappen. Can't get the move done. And Norris still on the back of Max Verstappen. We'll have to see what happens here. Norris just trying to hold on to the back of Verstappen, but the gap's 0.94 now. Battle for 6 between Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton. The battle will happen in 1 lap. I said it before, AWS. With this battle, it didn't really happen straight away. That gap was 2.6, it's gone down to 2.2, so if that is right, then fair play. I think Lance Stroll has just got past Alexander Albon. As we enter the last stages of this race. If you are enjoying our coverage here of the Formula 1 Singapore Grand Prix, then make sure to like and subscribe for more Formula 1 coverage later on this season. Hamilton in P7, the gap between him and Leclerc is now 1.1 seconds, so I think Leclerc's made a mistake somewhere. Surely. Or no, maybe Leclerc's getting hauled up by Antonelli. Or I think it's a back marker. Yeah, it's a back marker. Is it Behrman? No, it's not Behrman, it's the other Haas, it's Ocon. They are just starting that point of the race where the lapped cars have started a mini race altogether, but that mini race even has spread out itself. It just shows you how dominant George Russell has been here all race long. He has not led every single lap. The pit stops have only ruined that, but that's really been it. Every other chance, and Leclerc has been overtaken by Hamilton by a long margin into turn 1. He had DRS into turn 1 and easily passed. He sailed past Charles Leclerc, and he has the 6th position. And Leclerc's not happy. Well, I wouldn't be either. His teammate Lewis Hamilton overtakes him, and Hamilton takes P6. Driver of the day, you can vote for that. F1.com/vote. The vote closes in 5 laps time. Currently, the vote's 16% the way of Russell, 15% Alonso, 13% Verstappen. I think driver of the day has got to go to George Russell today. He's just dominated this race from start to finish. I know it's not over yet, but I think we all know he deserves it. 2 race weekends now, he's not been well. He's not as unwell as he was last weekend, but he's still in a position where he's unwell, doesn't want to. Never doesn't want to race, but it's just a bit sad for him when there's a race and he's ill and he doesn't like it. So I'll have to see what happens. Driver of the day, though, in my opinion, has got to go to George Russell by a long way. Number 63 from Mercedes. And the gap between Norris and Verstappen is 8 tenths now. So we'll have to see what that does. 57 of 62. 6 laps to go as we go into turn 16 and now 17 with Verstappen still in second. He stayed second now for a long time this battle. We've not seen an overtake in it. We've seen Norris though threatening a move and knowing this race is getting to the end point. He's going to make a move. He's got to make a move soon or he's not going to get it done. That's just the simple way of putting it. It would help him in the driver's standing considering Piastri is P4 and he's 3 seconds off the back of Norris. So let's see. Driver of the Day vote closes in 3 laps. So if you are voting for that, I'd be as quick and as I'll just do that straight away and because there's not long left. Not long at all. 58 of 62. It's currently Russell who leads this. The gap between Norris and Verstappen now down. It's 8 tenths still. No overtake made in that. It's like a chess battle, that. Nothing has changed, but who's going to play their cards right when it comes to the end of this race? We see now Norris on the back of Verstappen down Raffles Boulevard. He's got the DRS open, but it's not quick enough there. As Hamilton on the back of Kimi Antonelli, the man who he was replaced by at Mercedes when he left for the Red Stallion, the Red Italian of Ferrari. 4 left. Here under the lights of Singapore, it's currently around, if it's 2:39 in the UK, it's about 9:39 in Singapore. Race started at 8 local time, or formation lap did. Hamilton, though, is approaching that close group of cars himself now. And that has Lawson, Albon and Stroll in it. Everyone up to Hadjar has been lapped. Behrman should be fine. Well, he might just get lapped. We'll see what happens here. As we go on to lap 60 of 62. 3 laps to go here in Singapore. Still chance for Norris to get past Verstappen. Piastri not having the best race ever since he got pushed by Norris at turn 1. We've not seen him. Oliver Behrman's just got a black and white flag for track limits. And on lap 58, Stroll has been noted for leaving the track and gaining an advantage. We'll let you know what happens as a result of that. If he gets put under investigation after the race, we'll have to find out. One thing they are investigating after the race is Alex Albon for his practice start procedure, and we've seen that get drivers penalties in the past. Lewis Hamilton got a penalty for it earlier this year. Hamilton says, "I've lost my brakes." You don't want to lose your brakes here at Singapore. Not at all. I also feel at the end of this, weights will be a problem. If that is needed. This is Antonelli, lap 54, getting passed Hamilton, I believe. Yes, it was. And that's all it was. Lap 54 that happened. As we move on to lap 61. 3 to go becomes 2 to go. Here on the streets of Singapore, Verstappen now crossing the line by Norris, then Piastri. And Antonelli's a bit further back than that. And then it'll be Hamilton, Leclerc, Alonso, Behrman, Sainz, Hadjar, Tsunoda, Stroll, Albon, Lawson, Colapinto, Bortoleto, Ocon, Hulkenberg and Gasly. Those 20 cars. 2 to go. Here. 0.7 tenths. 0.7 tenths. 0.0 seconds. 0.0 seconds. That's a great time. 0.5 seconds between Norris and Verstappen. The battle for second. Hamilton just lost a position to Leclerc. I'm not sure whether that's concerning or not. Kimi Antonelli's been told... Oh, Hamilton got told to let Charles by. So he's obeyed that. Interesting. The FIA steward saying the incident involving car 18 Stroll has been reviewed. No further investigation for leaving the track and gaining an advantage. That was at turn 7 on lap 58, I believe. Oh, he had sparks coming from his car there, Hamilton, as he braked. And Hamilton just let him by. And Hamilton slots into 7th. That is very unfortunate for him, as we're on the last lap of this race. And it looks like Norris won't be able to do anything. Russell is also looking like he's not going to overtake Behrman to lap him. So everything's going to be fine on that front for Oliver Behrman. But it's between this, Verstappen and Norris. What happens here? 5.5 is the gap out front between Verstappen and Russell. And I don't think Norris will get the move done unless Verstappen makes a mistake, or else he pulls something out of the bag with battery, ERS or DRS. Either that, slipstream, and all of those factors are going to come into the equation. This is the last chance for Norris. Forget about managing temperatures, cooling the car down. This is it. However, he's not got past. Russell, though, doesn't need anyone to get past. He comes around the final 2 corners now. George Russell wins the Singapore Grand Prix under no pressure at all by 5.5 seconds. And it will be Verstappen who covers off Lando Norris. And it's Verstappen second, Norris third, Piastri fourth, after the 2 McLarens made contact at turn 2 on lap 1. And that confirms it. The 2025 FIA Formula 1 Constructors' Champions are McLaren. And they can celebrate a second consecutive Constructors' title. They won last season in Abu Dhabi, that title, and they've regained it 6 rounds early here in Singapore. And Russell will be celebrating that win for a long, long time. What a race! And the checkered flag flies here in Singapore. As George Russell speaks, here are the unofficial results. We're just waiting for Hamilton, Alonso and Behrman to cross the line. So we'll wait for that because Alonso is on the back of Hamilton just in case there's an overtake there. But the scenes at McLaren, they can celebrate. It's much more died down celebrations than last season because it's not that close. They've been dominating all season. Norris has got to be happy with that. And as the cars cross the line, Behrman's going to be the last one to cross the line because everyone else behind him has been lapped. Norris on the radio. I don't know if Norris is crying or not. Either way, as Behrman crosses the line, these are the unofficial results. By the way, the incident involving car 44 Hamilton's been noted for track limits. At turn 16, that was when he had no brakes. I don't think they'll penalise him for that. Here are the unofficial results. Russell first, Verstappen second, Norris third, Piastri fourth, Antonelli fifth, Leclerc sixth, Hamilton seventh, Alonso eighth, Behrman ninth, Carlos Sainz 10th, Hadjar 11th, 12th for Tsunoda, 13th for Stroll, 14th Albon, 15th Lawson, 16th Colapinto, 17th Bortoletto, 18th for Ocon, 19th for Gasly, and 20th for Hulkenberg. No one finished. No one actually did not finish, so we'll have to see. We'll have to see what happens, because Hamilton's been noted for track limits. He finished 7th. Alonso was close behind him. And Gabriel Bortoletto, did you watch any TV to know the results? Interesting. Oscar, back-to-back champions, they said. Hamilton saying, sure, it's not a penalty. I don't think it'll be a penalty, in my opinion, as the fireworks are in the air. And driver of the day went to Fernando Alonso. Interesting. Is that for his radio antics, maybe? We'll have to find out. And that means McLaren have sealed the Constructors' Championship. And George Russell gets to park on those lovely, I would like to say big TVs, but let's say displays, moving electronic displays, as he parks his car on it. LED. And he jumps out the car. Hopefully he's a lot cooler than he would have been last year. I mean, he crashed out on the last lap last year. This time he's tasting victory. Still waiting for Behrman and Hamilton to come around into the pit lane. But it's George Russell, the race winner. He jumps into his team. So does Norris. McLaren are Constructors' Champions. Mercedes are race winners. And Red Bull, Verstappen, are sandwiched in the middle of that. And George Russell surely got to be happy with a result like that. That race was approximately 1 hour and 45 minutes, which is a lot quicker than we've seen in the past. We've seen races go to time, but they've had safety cars in, and this is the second Singapore Grand Prix in a row where there hasn't been a safety car, and it's the second Singapore Grand Prix in all of its history without a safety car. Alonso on his radio said dangerous car. We'll have to work out what he means by that as the drivers relax after the race. Fastest lap of the race was Lewis Hamilton on lap 48 on those soft tyres. I think Russell is actually the sweatiest driver on the grid. Of course, Spain, 2024 or 3, he thought sweat was rain. And he said on the radio, is any drivers reporting rain? Rain is here. And oh my, the drivers are so tired they're actually sat down It's that hot. Maybe it's not as bad as Qatar, but it's still really hot. That's why it's a night race. If you race during the day here, it will be even worse. Zach Brown's gone to congratulate both of Lando Norris and George Russell, and they are about to talk. Both Zach Brown and Andrea Stella. So while we do that, we'll take a break. We'll tell you what they say after that break, and we'll also go over the rest of the race. But that has been the Singapore Grand Prix. We'll have all the reaction and analysis after this short break here on FG Sport. Hello and welcome back to Singapore. We've got post-race reaction and analysis, and you can see the final, that's the unofficial result on the right-hand side of your screen. And if that does change, we will let you know. Of course, the main focus of potential change could be Lewis Hamilton, and we'll explain to you why in a moment. Interesting stuff Formula One have done here, because McLaren are Constructors Champions. They've got podium top three being interviewed all at the same time, and they've had the bosses of McLaren, Andreas Stella and Zach Brown, interviewed as well. So it's been a very interesting and unusual end. Well, not end, but way of interviewing, because it's new what they've done with these two sets of interviews, let's just say, and very interesting stuff. But let's go over what Hamilton tried to straight line some of the corners. As such, he picked up a black and white flag for track limit infringements before again running wide on the last lap. He was warned again, and having been shown the flag, that normally means a penalty could be inbound, although with the FIA potentially saying that they've got to be lenient because he's lost his brakes. We'll have to find out what they do there. That will be investigated after the race, and if the penalty is inbound, he'll move down a position behind Alonso, not behind Behrman. Behrman was too far back. So Russell celebrated. Now this is the McLaren bosses. He says, pretty awesome. All the men and women have done an awesome job, and all the team management, Andrea here, is with incredible emotion, and I want to share with the team for their incredible work. And with 6 races to go, which is unbelievable, adds Andrea Stella. We are working very hard to continue this streak of wins into the future with the changes in technical regulations, of course, 2026. We are all in for it. And then when Brown was asked about his drivers, he said, they've driven brilliantly all season. You can't win without 2 awesome racing drivers. We are letting them race, and as you could see, that was a nail biter out there. So George Russell, when interviewed, said, feels amazing, especially after what happened a couple of years ago. So grateful to the team who did an amazing job all weekend. So happy. I was a bit nervous at the beginning where I saw Max on the soft. Verstappen said the track only just got dry, so he opted to try something different. It didn't work out. The whole race was quite difficult for a few different reasons, so we need to understand what went wrong for us today. For us, second was the maximum result. And Lando said, I could go again. It was a tough race. Max didn't make any mistakes, but I gave my all today. I'm happy. I got forward 2 positions and we won as a team. The constructors, again, I'm so happy. Lap 1 was so slippery, so wet in a lot of places. It is racing. I put it in on the inside, had a little correction, and yeah, that's it. He was talking about the collision with Piastri, and we didn't really see Piastri for the rest of the race after that. So, interesting stuff. Top 10 though. Russell won in Singapore here ahead of Verstappen and Norris. Piastri's 4th ahead of Antonelli and Leclerc. Hamilton minus his brakes was 7th ahead of Alonso, who did well to recover after a very slow stop. Behrman was 9th, who picked up a point. Sainz, who picked up a point despite starting from the back of the field. So well done there, Carlos Sainz. Pit lane start, finished 10th. So the final unofficial result is Russell, Verstappen, Norris, Piastri, Antonelli, Leclerc, Hamilton, Alonso, Behrman, Sainz, Hadjar, Tsunoda, Stroll, Albon, Lawson, Colapinto, Bortoletto, Ocon, Gasly, and Hulkenberg. So they are the top 10. The drivers are in the cool-down room, and they will definitely need the cool-down room. And Norris has actually just spilled water all over himself, so. But today is George Russell's 5th race win in his career. And as the constructors are wrapped up, McLaren have 650 points. Mercedes. Their closest challengers now on 325. Lewis Hamilton, though, where he does finish, if it's in the top 10, he'll get an extra point because he got the fastest lap. As the drivers are about to come out to the podium. Oh, and Lando Norris has missed the podium. He's gone through the wrong door. And there you go. Now he's on the podium. Lando Norris, actually, I can't believe he's done that. He's missed the podium. He walked past it. So Lando Norris is his 14th podium of 2025 in the 18th round of this season. Only 4 races where he hasn't finished on it. Second is Verstappen in the Red Bull, who said it was a tough race for him today. His 9th podium in 2025, so 50% on the podium, 50% off the podium. They actually added George Russell's name to the podium on the ground where it says all the names of the previous race winners. They've actually added that already. Fair play to them. George Russell wins the Singapore Grand Prix. And just imagine the national anthem of Britain, as George Russell is actually singing the British national anthem for the winning driver, and for the winning team I believe it will be the German national anthem because it's Mercedes. They're not fully British. Great race for George Russell though. He said it himself, the demons of the years before have gone away. And it is the German national anthem. The next time out, we are in Austin. 2 weeks' time for that one. And if you haven't subscribed already, make sure you have, because we'll be giving you more sport commentary later down the line, and maybe including the United States Grand Prix. You see Zach Brown looking up, and there you go. And here come all the presentations of the trophies and medals and whatnot. It's actually purple Pirelli caps. And the first place trophy is being presented by the Singapore Deputy Prime Minister. And the medal will be presented by Mr. Winston Au, Motorsport Singapore President. And then the second place trophy, constructor trophy, presented by Mr. Goh Choon Pong, the Chief Executive Officer of Singapore Airlines, obviously the title sponsor of the Singapore Grand Prix. Now here's the second place trophy, a lot smaller in size. And presented by Miss Grace Fu, Minister in charge of Trade Relations, Singapore. And then third place is presented again by Mr. Winston Au, President of Motorsport Singapore. Now I'd like to put that driver down, Lando Norris, because after this long race, maybe it's time for a bit. I don't even think it's champagne. I don't know what it is. I think it's champagne. It says merit on it, so either way, they're celebrating whatnot. We've got sprinklers, sparklers, whatever they're called, up. It's a special Pirelli cap design, actually, this weekend for the top three that they wear on the podium. And I'd save some of that champagne for later, because that might be needed. And it looks like Russell got a few drops in his eye, considering he's blinking a lot. It's a good cool down. Probably more cool down than the cool down room. As they stand on the podium together. The Mercedes constructor man who's had to go stand with George Russell pointed at George Russell about 50 times emphatically, which left Lando a bit shocked, and Max didn't know what to do and just held onto his shoulder, and there you go. Next time out, though, we're at the Circuit of the Americas, home of the Dallas cheerleaders, and home to some great races. Lewis Hamilton, they once had presentations there, and he came out and did a dab before a race. That was incredible. And that really big turn one with high elevation changes, the S's, some spins there and there. Sebastian Vettel in the Ferrari actually was on 3 tyres at one point. We had the cap throwing between Nico Rosberg and Lewis Hamilton. Kimi Raikkonen won in 2018. We had the Pirelli cowboy hats. There's been a lot of stuff. And last time out, it was Ferrari and Charles Leclerc on top with a 1-2. And that will be live October 17th to 19th, the MSC Cruises. United States Grand Prix is about a week and a half one, and then we're back for Formula 1 action. It's another flyaway race as we go from Asia to America. Also, right now, it's a big day of football in action. Premier League, many teams involved. And there's actually 4 games ongoing right now. We'll give you an update on them in just a second. In fact, hopefully it'll come up on the screen in just a second. Actually 4 games going on at once. It's a big weekend. And especially if you're doing FPL fantasy, hopefully it's been a good weekend for you. So let's have a look at them. Everton Crystal Palace. Currently 1-0 Crystal Palace. Aston Villa versus Burnley 1-0. Newcastle Nottingham Forest 0-0. And Wolves Brighton 1-0. All those games are in the second half. And Brentford versus Manchester City. Kickoff for that is at 4:30 PM BST. Also today, India take on Pakistan in the Women's Cricket World Cup. That's on now in the cricketing world. And then in the NFL, there's a lot of action. The Broncos are at the Eagles, the Texans are at the Ravens, the Buccaneers are at the Seahawks, the Lions are at the Bengals, and the Commanders are at the Chargers. They are all tonight. 2 from 6 and 3 from 9. Loads of games. And they're spread out. And then tomorrow it's the start of the World Grand Prix of Darts, day 1, and that gets underway from 6 PM. And also later today, British GT is on. The race starts at 5:30. Well, there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's been the Singapore Grand Prix. Whether Hamilton gets a penalty or not, or who knows, I'll have to find out. Maybe the FIA will be lenient. Before we go off the air, let's have a look at the final result. Well, it's not official. We're just getting a replay now, that turn 1 incident between Norris and Piastri. But here's the final official result. Russell, Verstappen, Norris, Piastri, Antonelli, Leclerc, Hamilton, Alonso, Behrman, Sainz, Hadjar, Tsunoda, Stroll, Albon, Lawson, Colapinto, Bortoleto, Ocon, Gasly and Hulkenberg. So that does it for the coverage of the Singapore Grand Prix. If you enjoyed it, make sure to like and subscribe. But until next time, for FT Sport, thank you for watching and goodbye.